people are going to feel more and more lost. The average person is going to become more and more of an NPC.
I know so many people and people close to me that their being and their purpose is so tied up with the labor that they're doing that a different life just does not compute in their mind.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Monetize. I'm your host, Tim Conley, and I'm here with my co-host and business partner, Pedro Moreno. What's up, brother?
I'm doing fine, Tim, despite how runny my nose is and how I'm sounding at the moment. I'm glad to be up in my game again, to be able to record. And I guess today we're talking about freedom. Is that right?
Yes, we're going to talk about freedom a lot because we just have like an episode not that long ago where we kind of talked about it.
Yeah, the
But
framework.
but I just got like this idea, and it just wouldn't leave me. We were editing the trailer for the show and trying to figure out like the message. And the reason I got into entrepreneurship was I wanted control over my life. Like I had a job once where I actually had to ask permission to go to the bathroom.
Hmm.
Like, I'm an adult.
Yeah,
I should not have to ask for permission to go to the bathroom.
yeah,
And they're like, no, it's not your scheduled break time, so you have to continue working. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
it
There's
is.
no way I'm going to do this. Quit
Yeah.
that job. Went off and got a better job. But it was this idea that I needed control of my life so that I could, be completely fulfilled. And that's why I went into this path of entrepreneurship. And over time, like I've helped a lot of people do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think this is just going to be this recurring theme over and over again, that we're going to talk about freedom in some variation. But what really got me was I had invested in an AI company a couple of years ago and had to really dive deep into what was happening and where the world is going.
Yeah.
And I realized that we are on the cusp of the machines taking over. That like full on, Terminator. Well,
Yeah.
except for all the killing part. Not gonna the killing part probably not going to happen.
Probably not.
But
Hopefully.
the machines were going to be in charge because not because they took charge, like they took over. It's just that everybody's just giving themselves away to the machines.
Yeah, we're granting access and we're substituting some things that were previously human to be now fully automated by some LLM.
Well, yeah, the LLMs, the like robots are coming. Tesla's Optimus is
Mm.
very promising. There's a bunch of other robots that you see coming out of China. They're really promising. They're kind of mostly toys right now, but it won't be very long before they can do everything. So like right now, LLMs are smarter than the smartest human beings.
Yeah.
They can't do a lot more than specific tasks right now, but soon they'll be able to do entire jobs. And so to go from a task and where you can right now automate tasks and have AI do certain things for you, and you can even reduce some of your staffing in your company
Yeah.
by using AI automations. Now, robots are about to be stronger and more enduring than the strongest humans,
Right.
where they will be able to go in and do construction. They'll be able to do plumbing. They'll be able to do, electrician work. Like it's coming
Yeah.
where all those things will be done by a machine. And people aren't ready for it. People are still not ready for the internet.
Yeah.
Like in a recent episode, I went off on this, right? I went off
Yes.
like the internet has been commercially viable since 1995.
Mm-hmm.
That's 30 years
30
ago,
years. Yeah.
at the time of this recording. It's been commercially viable, meaning anyone who had access to the internet could make a living online. And an entire generation of people that they're 30 years old today, they grew up in an environment that was always commercially viable, where they didn't have to go get a job. They could have built their own income source. At as a teenager, they could have
Yeah.
done that.
Mhm.
And now we're about to enter this world where there's not gonna be any work. There isn't going to be jobs for people. So how do you be free in the age of the machine?
And what's in your mind there? Because, I think there's plenty of different perspectives that come into play. And for me, there's different camps. So there's the outrage slash fear of like if labor is all going to be outsourced or it is all going to be basically taken by a machine, whether that's a physical machine like a robot or an LLM like we're seeing now, then what am I going to do in that world? I remember I have like one of my smart friend. He's like a get graduate on physics, and he was studying in Switzerland, and well, just one amazing mind. And he was always saying to me like, yeah, machines and AI is going to come for the dull jobs that we humans aren't supposed to be doing, like that kind of labor. So we're all going to be free to actually pursue what drives us nuts, even like what is our passion, what motivates us to be alive even. And I think that is like a very positive camp, but at the same time, like there's a lot of people, maybe even me included, that we cannot really foresee how to monetize on that passion, which you talk about a lot more as well. And having like that perspective of 30 years of the internet and seeing how many people have been able to monetize and maybe even build an empire out of their passion, out of playing Dungeons and Dragons on YouTube, like the example that we have on our trailer. It's like, okay, well, we're starting to have like a blueprint, and we have minds like yours and Gary Vee, for example, of people who can actually see how things can be moved and set up in a way that those passions can actually be systemized, if you will, and you can actually build a business, a way of life around that passion as well. So I want to get a little bit into that, into like the perspectives and how we can like combat those negative perspectives on machines and robots and labor taken out of our hands and yeah, our income.
So it's inevitable that machines were going to take all work, not just the dull jobs. It's gonna take all work because there's no way for a human being to outcompete a machine. This happened a long time ago when the steam engine was invented,
Right.
and
Yeah.
they shifted. They used to have people hammer in the railroad spikes, with a sledgehammer. They'd hammer it in.
Yeah.
And then they built a machine that rolled along on the tracks, set down the next track, and then hammered in the spikes to hold down the track,
Yeah.
all with a steam engine. And it could do lots of track in a short amount of time, where before it took hundreds of people with sledgehammers smashing spikes into the track to hold it down, to be able
Right.
to make miles or kilometers of railroad all over the world, right?
Are you translating miles into kilometers for
Yeah,
me?
just for,
Right.
international audience. Granted,
Yeah.
nearly everyone who's gonna be listening to this is gonna be in the
American.
United States,
Right.
but it would take forever, to do that, and this was almost 200 years ago,
Yeah.
170 something years ago that steam engines started taking the labor away from human beings,
Mhm.
and it's just been a relatively slow progression for, the human lifespan for us to get to a point where we're now nearly autonomous, that the machines can do nearly everything. And and this is a good thing. People who make their living with their labor, it doesn't feel like a good thing.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, the what we're seeing LLMs doing is taking more work from people who do knowledge work. And so I've always had sort of a difference in that, is that knowledge work going back to, like, the 1950s, Peter Drucker wrote about that. It's like, we're in this new age. We don't have just laborers, we have people who build things, are productive through knowledge. But in the work that I've done for the last 25 years is realizing that we surpassed the knowledge part and we needed to move into the strategic part, strategic thinking. We
Right.
needed to be thinkers, not knowers. Is that even a
Mhm.
word? Like, to know something.
Yeah.
That's the way we were. We were people who needed to know things. Now, knowing something, you just do a little search. Grab your phone, do a search. Now you know, like, you've got information,
Yeah.
but it's not helpful. You need to be able to think. And this is where we're at, is a lot of people are still stuck in NPC behavior.
Mhm.
For people who don't know the term, non-player character. When you're playing video games, you go and you meet up with some character who gives you an assignment for you to go do something. They say whatever they're programmed to say.
Yeah.
They don't think, they don't act on the world. They just give you this little opinion, and that's it. And we have too many people who have become NPCs in this world. They don't think. They just get up, go to their job, do their day to day, and they look on the internet to see what today's opinion is, and then they adopt that opinion.
Mhm.
In the age of machines, you cannot live that way, or you become a character out of Idiocracy. If you've ever seen the movie Idiocracy, people just get dumber because they sit and they just consume stupid content over and over and over and over again. And the algorithms for social media are designed to get you to consume stupid content over and over and over and over again. And even if you think you're a thinker, if you're spending more than 30 minutes scrolling a day, then you are becoming a character out of Idiocracy. You are becoming an NPC, and you will not do well in this age of machines. You will be waiting for a government handout, your corporate job keeping you on just because you're a human being. It's not gonna happen. And so you need to take control of your life and do so now while you have the ability to make money and turn that money into assets, because the only thing that's really gonna matter, for you to pay your bills in the future is asset management. Different topic, don't wanna go down there just yet,
Yeah.
but that's what's coming. And we need to figure out how to message to our listeners a path to actually being free instead of being enslaved by machines, instead of being enslaved by an algorithm that dumbs us down. How do we live in this new world?
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there. And I think first we need to sort of expand on the role of an entrepreneur. People I want to say just like me, for instance, that can be threatened by this rise and the entering of the machine.
Yes, and they kinda should feel threatened. Uh, because, you need to feel it so that you actually take action, that you start preparing yourself for a time where you don't have to work. So and he okay, I really I'll get back to you. I get back
Okay.
to you.
Okay.
We all spend our whole lives trying to get to retirement so that we don't have to work, right? Lots of people, they do their jobs like, yeah, well, when I'm 65 or whatever, I'm going to retire and then I'm going to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
But why can't we get there a little sooner? Like why not get to a point where you spend your day doing what you want to do? So that's I want that in people's minds before I move into answering your question.
Okay.
Why can't you live life on your terms now? Why wait until the end of your life? Because machines are probably gonna, if you're, say, 30 years old today, machines are probably going to have taken over nearly all jobs by the time you're 65.
Yeah.
And you won't be working. You just won't be. So maybe you need to prepare for that and prepare to have a life that you enjoy doing sooner rather than later.
This also ties into identity, you know, because I know so many people and people close to me that their identity, their sense of being is all tied up with what they do on their job, what their job is, and what their job means to society as well. And so, like, even if they achieve not only the age of retirement, but a certain economic scenario where they can fully retire, their being and their purpose is so tied up with the labor that they're doing that a different life just does not compute in their mind. And that is something that
Right.
I admire from people that can just pivot no matter what they're doing. Like one day they can have like a store that sells like I don't know, like cereals and oatmeal, and the next day they can hop on a plane and go to Europe to do God knows what. Like their job in this life is to live no matter what their job is. And I think
Right.
that is like a good premise to have in mind as labor is sort of granted to machines and all of the things that we're talking about as well.
Right. So back to what would you be doing as an entrepreneur? A business partner in the AI company that I invested in, his thinking is that right now, not in the future, but right now, your job is to have an aesthetic view of the world. You
Mm.
need to, because uh, LLMs can't make art. They
Yeah.
can you can do the mechanisms of art. You can do the mechanisms of a podcast even,
Yeah. Mhm.
because they've done it. You can listen to it. It's not very good. There's definitely not any soul to it, and I think mostly because it doesn't feel as, variable as humans actually are. So,
Right.
like, for
Yeah.
me, if at some point soon, it'll be as hyper as I am on camera.
Right.
It'll go up and then it'll go down and it'll do all the variations of tone and everything that I do. And
Yeah.
you would never even know that it wasn't me. And it will eventually have enough of my content to know what I would say in a scenario, because it would have enough data, it would have enough of my own responses, and it would say, well, Tim was asked this question, he's going to say this thing. But
Yeah.
right now, it cannot do that. I don't know how far we are from that. It's probably 3 to 5 years from now that it'll be indistinguishable. But right now, if you can curate an aesthetic, then you can get LLMs to do something useful for you today. And so like in podcasting, you would just see that as, well, an LLM is one of the editing tools, one of the production tools that we use.
Hmm.
That's today. In the future, it might be the tool. Like you just go, hey, LLM, let's do our podcast today for, our host is this. And you can just invent a show and it'll look as natural and feel full 3D and artistic as if it was done by human beings. It will be a tool for you. As long as humans feel they're gaining the connection, then the podcast will be successful. If they feel like they connect with the hosts, whether those hosts are machines, they're avatars,
Yeah.
or they are real human beings, people won't care. They will care that they feel connected to the message that is crafted. LLMs probably won't be able to craft that that heart, that and not authenticity, because it'll feel authentic, but
Yeah.
the heart and soul of what humans can still bring. And to answer your question earlier, this comes down to purpose. What is your purpose in life? When you get up in the morning, are you excited to do what you're going to do that day? Why are you expending calories? Like, why are you shoving food in your face so you can burn calories that day?
Yeah.
Why do you exist? That has to be answered, or you will not be free. You can have money, you can set yourself up so you can have the things that I call time, income, and mobility, the three main freedoms. Control of your time, control of your income, no one else can take it from you, and mobility, meaning you can go wherever you want, whenever you want. You could have those things and still feel trapped, because if you don't have a purpose when there is no work you have to do because the
Mhm.
machines have taken over, you will feel lost. And as soon as you feel lost, you're not free.
Okay, let's do like a quick exercise to help me better understand your way of thinking about this. And let's say let's fast forward 10 years from now,
Okay.
okay? In the line of work that I'm at the moment, let's say that even podcasts are not even hosted by humans anymore, but still,
Okay.
of course, consumed by humans. And say that, yeah, we have like 10 different clients here that they they all expect like a high quality product out of, let's say, premises that they bring to us. And we even are the ones using LLMs to make those shows as well. And say
Okay.
that we can do that just with a couple of prompts. Now, that is the setting in which Tim is going to fill these shoes. How do you imagine your day to day, your thinking, your purpose to look like with that scenario?
So in that scenario, we're looking at, why are we even making these shows?
Yeah.
What's the art behind it? You're not like, if you're trying to like make a show to promote your product or something, that kind of works today. Like do a show to promote your, you know, uh, podcasting production service, right? That's
Mhm.
kind of what we're doing. Like it's sort of hidden in there, a hidden message. But if that's all you're doing, you're probably going to lose, like, because just get drowned out in a sea of podcasts. There'll be so many podcasts that it won't matter. Like you'll need to have something that stands out. So if you look at storytelling, if you look at just entertainment value um, or insight into the human condition, because as machines take over, people are going to feel more and more lost. The average person going to become more and more of an NPC,
Yeah.
and some are just going to go for the lowest common denominator entertainment. People getting hit on top of the head with a hammer or something, and it's like, oh, that's funny. And then there's going to be people who are going to look for an existential answer to their problem, their life, their existence. And you can come in with a show like the Monetize 10 years from now comes in and says, "Here's how you can still make a living even when there's no call for you to do labor,
Because
but
that's your
you
purpose.
you
Yeah.
have the ability to direct machines."
Right.
Even 10 years from now, you will have these tools called machines, robots, LLMs that you could direct with your purpose, your sense of purpose,
Right.
the mission that you have, and speaking to the people who care the most about what that message is.
Yeah.
You can then create the most amazing show possible. So the thing that you would be hopefully excited about is, how do I make this show amazing with these machine tools that I have, with the AI that can craft a world that I can imagine. It's like I get to work with a machine. I tell the machine, do this thing for me. And it does it. And you're like, wow, that's so cool. Now let's tell this whole story. And it helps you craft that story.
Right.
And so then instead of doing what we do, which is we record and then we edit and then we go, okay, let's change, let's do some color grading, let's do this and that. The machine will just do it. Like it'll be edited by the time you're done talking to the machine,
Right.
right? You'll be
And
editing and producing a story on the fly.
okay, so this specific scenario, maybe it reminds me of, or I can imagine that is something that filmmakers were imagining once, PCs and iMacs started to populate like the software or the workflow to making movies and I'm putting myself in the shoes of people who were just recording physically and then someone dropping out of the blue and saying to them, oh, there's going to be a movie about toys that come to life that was all made on a computer. Just like the voices were recorded from real people, but the rest, everything, the rest that is part of that production was made by a computer. Like their jobs or their minds would have just blown away
Yeah.
at the spot because it's a completely paradigm shift. So that is something that I'm trying to anchor myself with, like an example of something that we are already living in, to be able to sort of like ease my my anxiety of thinking, okay, how things are going to change, but also linking it back to freedom. In that scenario, what would be the opposite of freedom? Because what I'm getting from this is that the freedom to keep doing the thing that you feel purpose behind, or that you feel like a strong sense of purpose to do, is the thing that is going to drive you to keep doing things in spite of the tools that you have around, and find a way and craft your way of life to not be bound by time, by place, or by your income to keep doing those things. But now to have like a better sense, like a full picture, what in your mind would be the opposite of freedom in that scenario?
Getting up every day and just consuming content, because that's what's going to be there. You're not gonna have a job, so you're just gonna get up, consume whatever you're told to consume.
Right.
Like, whatever shows up on your feed, the algorithm has told you, this is for you today. So I would say getting getting practice today at crafting the world you want to live in. So create more, consume less,
Mhm.
because if if you don't build those muscles, like going to the gym, if you do not build the muscles necessary to live on your own purpose, then you will just get carried along. It's just a wave that we're all floating on, more a river, right? We're just
Yep.
moving along. Progress is moving us all. All humanity is moving along on this river.
Yep.
Some people are guiding themselves on this river, avoiding the obstacles in the river. They're avoiding the rapids. They're avoiding the rocks, and they're able to get to where they want to go in this flow. Others are getting carried away and landing wherever they land. And that's if you just go along with it, this is what's going to happen. As I said, this is NPC behavior where you're doing permission seeking.
Mhm.
I'll ask somebody else if I should do this thing. No, do the thing. Don't ask permission. Just do the thing.
Mhm.
You ask people about their opinion. No, formulate your own opinion. Look at look at the facts, look at the thing that you're seeing and formulate your own opinion, not what the crowd tells you to believe. Formulate your own, because if you cannot do that, if you cannot formulate your own opinions, if you can't formulate your own beliefs, you're just going to get carried away by the machines.
Yeah.
You will be purposeless. You will not have a purpose in life.
Mhm.
And without that, it will feel empty, it'll feel nihilistic, and you're going to be unhappy, even if you're able to pay your bills, even if you're able to make a living in the age of machines. If you don't have a purpose, you will not be free.
So again, linking it back to the main purpose of this episode, full pun intended, which is freedom. And even though we did like this exercise of putting ourselves in the shoes of someone 10 years from now, what is freedom and what is not for this person, I still think we need to define what are we talking about when we talk about freedom, especially in the context of the monetize.
Okay. Uh, freedom, freedom for most people is a desire to consume more stuff. They don't actually want to be free in the sense of political freedom or physical freedom. They just want to be able to have more money, to be able to buy more things, to impress people they don't like.
Right.
That's that's mostly what people believe freedom
Right.
is that if I go into entrepreneurship, I'll be able to build a business and I'll be able to buy stuff. And stuff doesn't make you free. So, to figure out what freedom means, a definition of freedom for yourself, because it's slightly different for everyone, you need to figure out what your freedom from is and what your freedom to is. So,
Hmm.
freedom from, like, there's lots of stuff. Like, I don't want to be told what to do. Like, I want the freedom to not have somebody tell me what to do during the day.
Yeah.
Like, that's a freedom from. A lot of people are trying to get away from things they don't like, and that may be you may not even know what the 2 is, like, where you're going, what the freedom is, and what it looks like. You just know that you've got a lot of things in your life right now that you just don't want them to be there,
Right.
and I would make a list of all the things you want freedom from. Freedom from not being able to pay your bills, freedom from debt, freedom from being stuck in a town that you don't like living in because your job's there and you can't afford to go somewhere else, right? List all the freedom froms and get those down. It'll probably be a long list. The freedom to, like, where are you going? What what do you want freedom for? That'll probably be a really short list. For me, it's being able to spend time with my family.
Right.
That's like if I want to go to like when my daughter was growing up, I could take her to her dance recital. I could take her to gymnastics. I could middle of the day, I could just go do that. I didn't have to ask anybody for permission. I didn't have to make a big plan as to how I was going to do it. I just did it because I structured my whole life to be able to do this form of freedom. And if you uh, look at all the things that you would like to do, or say, okay, is there a purpose to it? Traveling the world. I like traveling to different parts of the world. My purpose for doing so has changed over the years. As a young man, it was all about exploring cultures. Now it's more about just taking a change of scenery because the world's kind
Mm,
of getting a little monotonous. So it's like, I
right.
just want to see a beach on another part of the world. And
Yeah.
it's kind of fun to travel and do that. Figuring out where you're going, that list, the freedom to, is going to be a fairly short list. And it'll be the most important things that you want out of life. For me, it's spending time with family, uh, maybe taking a trip around the world every so often.
Yeah.
Uh, but you figure out what that is, and those are your definitions of what freedom is. And it will change over time as you age and as you experience more things. As a free person, you'll experience more things and you'll go, "Oh, yeah, I thought this was gonna be more fulfilling. It's not, so I'm gonna stop
Yeah.
doing it."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you can choose to stop doing it. Then that brings us to this point of, well, how do you actually do it? For me, I structured my business to have time to do the client work that I promise my clients I will do, and they pay me handsomely for it. And then I have time scheduled where I get to just do whatever I want. But even so the way I structure my life as an advisor to entrepreneurs is I have the first week and third week, I will do client work. I don't do client work on the second or fourth week of any month. Just I don't. I will not take it, and I focus on the things that I want to do on that time. I also do not structure my life so that the first week and third week is packed full of client work. Because if
Yeah.
it's packed, then I can't go run off and do a thing with my family. Like,
Right.
I need flexibility in my schedule to be able to do the things I really want to do. I understand that freedom comes with the responsibility. To have the life that I have to make commitments to people who give me a lot of money. Having commitments is not anti-freedom. I've had this I've given this talk all over the world multiple times, like for what, 15 years I've given this talk about controlling your schedule, and well, you're doing client work. You're not free. It's like there's a difference between choosing a commitment and having a commitment put upon you.
Right. Yeah.
So I choose to do these things because I like doing it. I like getting paid to help people succeed. I like it. It's fun. So I schedule some of my time to be able to do that kind of work so that I can get the rewards, the financial rewards, to go do the things that I truly care about in life. I'm able to do this as this advisor. I've a lot more flexibility than somebody who's doing e-commerce. But even people who do e-commerce, you've got shipping, you've got to get customers, you got to do marketing. You end up getting more freedom as you systemize that business, as you essentially fire yourself from every single department. Because when
Yeah.
you first get started, you're kind of doing everything. But over time, you need to be focused on how do I not do these things? Even with you and podcast production, I kept saying, like, one of the first things I said was, "Stop editing," right?
Yep.
Let's structure your pricing so
Yep.
that you can pay people a good wage to do editing,
Yep.
and you stop doing it because you've got a business to build.
Right.
If you do not fire yourself from editing, you cannot move to the next stage of the business. You cannot gain more freedom if you don't fire yourself from all the different jobs that come with running a business.
Yeah. And now I want to fire myself from project managing as well. So that's coming.
That's it. Exactly.
That's coming
It's the
very soon
next
as
thing.
well.
As
Yeah.
as your business grows, you have to stop doing the thing that you're currently doing to get to the next level. And in time, you'll have this system of of people doing work with machines to produce these amazing shows, and you will be an art director, and then eventually you won't be the art director. You'll be the guy figuring out, well, which podcast should we even be doing? Like, what stories does the world need to hear? And then you'll say, okay, here's our new direction. We're going to be launching this new show for the world because I this is something they want to hear. This is something I believe they need to hear. And then your art director and your entire team set about building this new show.
Tim, you know what? It is really a privilege that you asked me to co-host this show with you because during the last year that we have been talking on a more regular basis, you have been critical about changing the way that I think about the things that I can do with this little thing that I thought I was doing, but all of the potential that it has, and as I said, like the examples that I'm thinking about to sort of like anchor my belief in and be able to say, okay, yeah, I can see the way, I can see the path to arriving there. And I say that it is a privilege, and I'm thankful that you decided to bring back the podcast, Tim, because just as much as you have helped me change the way that I think, I really hope that you are, or through this podcast, we're going to continue to help others change the way they think about business and life as well. Because what freedom me is, or what freedom means to me, for example, is not only the fact that I can be free to work from anywhere that I want. Me being a migrant, that was like the most important thing for me as a freelancer as well. Like, I moved countries and I needed to keep the money flowing in spite of the context that I was in. And what freedom is now as well is to have enough income to do great work, to be able to lift the at times heavy load of taking care of my parents. Because I also know that there is no one, like not even them, that can take care of themselves. And you have helped me change the way that I think about that responsibility. Like, be free to give them a life that they deserve just as much as I can design my own life to fit that goal as well. And that comes from essentially changing the way that I see my work, that I see how can I structure my pricing differently, that I can structure my services and my products differently as well, and to be able to stand my ground in front of a prospect and say, yeah, you will be able to get this if you work with us, because I know that our team is doing such great work that you're going to do this. In spite of any tool that we have, in spite of anywhere in the world that we are, we back our work, we back our product as well. And it all comes from perspective for me. So thank you.
I think that's a great wrap up, like telling people what your freedom is, that you're growing this business to gain the things that you want out of life. In the age of machines, these will just be tools for you to to continually fulfill your purpose, to continually add freedom in your life, freedom for your family, and hopefully freedom for those around you that you care the most about. And to continue to do art, to continue to uh, put out a message for the world through all these different shows that you produce for everyone else. I think that's a fantastic way of being able to stay free when the machines can do all the work.
And with that, let's wrap it up.
And see you in the next episode.
See you.